How was your work day? Are work, home, or your relationship stressing you out? Do you want to thrive and become stress-free? Do you know someone who's bragging about their stress level and how much they can take in terms of work hours? If someone says, "I thrive on stress," it's not the truth. If you see stress as something positive, it's a result of how our modern way of living has normalized living under stress. It's not natural for humans to live under stress for an extended length of time. Stress is a primal instinct. We are naturally stress-free, but we're conditioned to believe that stress is something positive. It's designed to arise only when we need to be mobilized to action, not to be present in our lives at all time. It's a myth that stress is something positive. We can't thrive on stress long term. Life can get complex when it comes to balancing a life with work, family, commitments, and so on. Stress makes you see yourself as separate from your true self. Sometimes stress also contributes to the feeling of separation between work and personal life. And that sensation of separation will disrupt your natural flow of energy and how you experience your life. If you feel out of sorts and stressed, your natural flow can be restored. You can get out of the feeling of constantly running the rat race and return to your own balance, to feeling energized and stress-free. I remember coming home from a long work day to 3 young kids. I served everyone the dinner first, feeling hungry and tired myself, pushing my own natural body signals away and tucking away the frustration. At the end of the night, I was the absolute last one to take a bite of what's now a cold dinner. Been there, done that, for a number of years straight. One thing is true. Whether we connect to it or not, the big picture will always be steps ahead of us. The universe simply won't support our human perception when it comes to glorifying stress. The universe throws us back again and again so that we can realize what we're doing and realize the effect of our choices. What would a small shift in self-awareness of stress in your everyday life mean to you and others? Energy attracts like energy. If we care for our own energy first in every daily situation, we're also caring about the energy of others. What would it mean to you to show up for your families and friends, energized and refreshed even after a long workday? It's within the moment of self-awareness in everyday situations where the shift can start towards a stress-free life. So how can we start shifting this epidemic of stress being positively rewarded into stress being something we want to move away from and not want? When the stress is felt in every limb at the end of the day, how can we start listening to our bodies? The key to live a stress-free life is to transform the stress energy to stress-free energy. Stress-free energy is a supporting, healing energy. Stress is not the problem. It's the relationship to the stress energy that's the problem, and what we do as a result when we're stressed. Start using these 3 universal tools to shift to stress-free energy and release degenerating stress in an instant. First, shift from thinking about competition to a win-win attitude. Even if the work environment is competitive, we all want the same thing. At work or anywhere else, we all want to be appreciated and loved. Relationships with colleagues at work can be stressful. Think of someone that annoys you at work or you feel competitive with. How often do you get upset about that person at work? Here's another way to handle it that would protect your own energy and shift from a negative to a positive effect. The law of attraction says that energy attracts like energy. If you give the same negative energy as you get faced with, You will keep fueling the negative. If you think a positive thought in a negative situation, however, there is the opportunity to shift. When the people who annoy you are at their worst and upset you the most, send them love and compassion. The more you can see the opportunity for the both of you, the better. Notice the difference in your energy when you're not competing with others. Leadership for the future is when you can hold the space for the wisdom of others to surface. Second, forgiveness in the present brings you compassion. When things happened in the past, it's easy to get dragged into thinking like a victim. It feels comfortable and is often met with sympathy from others. Instead, see the other person who said or did something to upset you yesterday or ages ago for the pain that they were going through and that they had to take it out on you. The truth is that your life is now, not in the past, not in the future. It's now. Seeing the innocence in someone brings your energy to a place of compassion. Another example is if you made a mistake. Mistakes can be hard to overcome because we run into them in our mind. We run them in our mind over and over. The ego punishes you in thought. You interrupt your own energy flow. So try this tip. Return to the mistake the way it was made and give it up in peace. How do you know if you gave it up in peace? You will feel at peace about it. If you feel you're not okay about it, you can make another decision. As an adult, you're allowed to change your mind about something that you've been believing in for years. Allow your compassion and non-judgment, also for yourself, to shine through. Give up trying to control others and what they do or say. Forgiveness is key. Third, you are right where you need to be. All too often, stress comes rolling in when we expect ourselves to be somewhere else when we're not. It may be the desire to be further ahead in your career, earning more money than you do, having more kids than you do, being slimmer than you are, etc. It's often external goals that cause that stress, but it also internal expectations that we have on ourselves. Trust that you are here now, just where you need to be. Everything in life you have experienced so far has led you to where you are today. It's exactly the way it's supposed to and have evolved for you. Practice these different ways of transforming your stress energy today and see what you find out. When you relate differently to stress, it's going to have a different impact on you and others. So start today to see yourself as a person that is deciding to transform stress into compassion, trust, and forgiveness instead of absorbing it and aligning with it. In what area of your life would you benefit from reducing stress? How can you become stress-free?
Okay, great.
All right. Hello. Thank you for joining me, Georgia. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this.
Yes, I'm so excited too. And we have a very important topic to discuss. And the topic is, as you all know, is the secret to thrive for real. 3 universal tools for becoming stress-free. So as I think everyone can feel stress on a day-to-day basis. And I want to kick off this conversation with asking you, as far as this topic, how do you feel it's relevant in the way we live our life today and in this modern world that we're in?
Yeah, I specifically love this blog post the most because of one of the things in the very beginning, you talk about the win-win. And I think that's such a great mindset and has been for me just throughout life, to help handle stress. We're kind of like in this day and age, everyone's so career driven and so focused on achieving goals and everything else that oftentimes we almost have blinders on going through life to get to that goal. Or just to be extremely competitive because of the workforce. And that just increases people's stress. So that, I think, is why this article in particular, this blog post, is so relevant, because it's something that I think all women experience, especially, if you're in a working environment, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I get a lot of questions around, and especially like how to handle stress and how can you actually transform it. So it's certainly on top of people's mind, and women in particular.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, give an example how you experience stress today. Share something from your own life that is going on when it comes to stress.
I think one of the things that I do is I put on retreats for groups of women. And so when I'm on a retreat, I'm oftentimes very stressed. I don't let really anyone in on it, but it's a stressful scenario because you are kind of in charge of these groups of women, different schedules, transportation, you name it, you're the point person. And so oftentimes it becomes overwhelming and very stressful. And for me, the way that I'm able to kind of calm myself down is just through the breath, taking a deep breath and realizing that, what will be, and that I am a very capable person, so that if something does come up or go off plan or whatever it is, just trust in myself that I'll be able to handle it and handle it to the best of my capability. So I always find when I'm stressed, it's so simple, but just breathe. Yeah, and then remember that that I am capable and that I have the ability to handle what comes my way.
Yeah, and that belief in that, because a lot of times we doubt ourselves, right? And that's when we feel even more stressed.
Right.
Being able to use the breath also to come back to that more confident, like powerful place. And that's such a great, tip.
Yeah.
So the blog post talks about some of the ways to transform stress. And the first thing was to really move away from the thinking that everything is a competition.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that earlier. One. Yeah. Tell me a little bit what that means to you.
Well, I think growing up, just being an athlete, I'm just innately competitive. I can't help it. It's just anything going on in life, I'm like, I want to be the best. So it's been something that I've really worked on for a while, is that win-win attitude, or that I think another piece that sort of ties into it is it's this win-win attitude, but also to not compare. So it's kind of like, I find that when I start comparing myself to others is when I kind of start to feel a little bit down, or I'm not good enough. And so by adapting this kind of mindset of, okay, we all win and we're all different and we all have our different strengths, it's like by not comparing yourself to someone else, and it helps you stay positive. It helps you see your own path and focus on really what you're good at. And then also at the same time, you're able to genuinely be happy for the other people around you, because you're not comparing yourself. You're happy for them and their path and their journey and what they're accomplishing. And so by doing that, you really wipe away all of those like negative feelings or that you're not good enough. And I find that in itself to just be something that I live by, and it's been something I've had to work on. But I find it really powerful.
So good. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's that conditioning of there's always a winner, right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, we're all winners in our own life and on our own path. So that, but it is it's a mind thing that
Yeah.
we can work with for sure. And I'm the same, kind of working to see the win-win for all at all times, and that actually makes us feel better. And
Yes, it really
awesome.
does. Yeah, and I also, I have 4 younger sisters, and if it's possible, we're all opposites. And I think having them in my life has really helped me with that concept as well, because we're so, so different, so that, one sister is, going off to law school, you can really be happy for her, because that's her journey, her path. I don't think I could ever get into law school, but I don't want to. That's not my path. It's not my journey. So it's, just recognizing that everyone has their own journey to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so, what a great practice have, as far as your
Yeah,
sisters. They are just right there around the corner in your own family. And I think that
right.
might be something that we all can take. We all have that perspective with others we have close to us that we can practice the same thing with.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's another concept in the blog post around forgiveness, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, from what I hear also from other women, is that the part of forgiveness is really often focused on others, like to forgive somebody else. But what's
Yeah.
your perspective on forgiveness, and how that can actually help support when it comes to stress?
Yeah. So forgiveness, I think, is key. But one thing that I've sort of learned is I've heard people say, okay, you need to forgive. That's how you move on. And so in the past, there were times where I really tried to force it, but didn't really truly believe it. So when it comes to forgiveness, I think if you're aware that you need to forgive, also forgive yourself for taking the time that you need to get there. It's really hard to rush forgiveness. It's necessary, so it's good to have it, top of mind and to understand that it needs to happen. But also take your time getting there, because if you force it or fake it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's so good. And then I think it's, as you say, it's one thing to really want to forgive, but it's a different thing to actually truly forgive with the heart and
Yeah.
your entire. Yeah, that's so good.
I know, and some people are really good at it. They forgive quickly, and I'm always like, how'd you do that? I just know myself. I need a little bit of time to just like digest and work through the emotions to get there. But once I'm there, I feel great. It just takes time.
um, and also the third concept in this post is around trust, that we are right where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
How does that show itself in your life?
That one is like a newer one for me. I think over the past couple years, I've kind of um, really embraced that concept. Um, I really started to adopt that through yoga, actually. I feel like that really helped just open my eyes to that. And that's letting go. That's just letting go of control. The more you try to control life is the more stressed out you're going to be.
Mm.
So it's good to, have your goals or a path or a direction, but it's also good to embrace the journey. We're all here just for a brief time. So enjoy it and don't try to control it. And when you let go and, loosen those reins and open your eyes to everything, there's a lot of great lessons. There's a lot of great things to experience. But you really can only get there if you just stay present,
Yeah. And how, like, what's the difference? Because I've been thinking about this too, like when we really find that trust in that today is really, whatever happens today is what's supposed to happen. What's the difference, like, in the feeling?
I think it's a little bit more of just like content, and a little bit more of excitement for me. I have this feeling of like, ooh, what's going to happen next? And excited to see like what's going to unfold. Instead of, if you're trying to control a situation, I mean, I feel like at some point or another, we've all really tried to control our lives. And sometimes it feels like you're just hitting your head against a wall because the universe is like, no, that's not what's happening. And you're like, and you just get so frustrated. So it's like coming to that piece of like, all right, it's just, that's not the path right now. And just kind of follow, where life leads you. But it also goes back to trusting yourself and knowing that, okay, that path isn't available to you right now. Let's see what unfolds. But also trusting yourself that you're going to pick a path that's right for you. You're not going, I think the fear sets in when people stop trusting themselves or their gut or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's a really good point, that it's not always feeling like all positive when it's just kind of feel like, okay, something is holding me back here and there's a reason for that. So that's a really good point, that it's actually working the same way, whether it's a positive experience or more of a, I wouldn't say negative, but more of a different experience
like
than what we expect. So,
yeah, exactly.
Right. So what does thrive in life mean to you?
Thrive in life. Thriving in life, I think really is just trusting the universe, kind of going back to what we were just talking about. It's enjoying the ride and not controlling it, and trusting yourself. So I feel like anyone can thrive. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how little money you have, what your job is. It's just being happy where you are in, right now in that time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's one little thing we can all start doing to thrive today?
So as you know, I have a travel company. And so I firmly believe that when you travel, it breaks up it gets you out of your just daily mindset, your daily routine. It opens your eyes and it just allows for your mind to expand and explore different ways to look at the world. And just see and try new things, which is always so good for the mind and for stress. So I always say, it's such a good actionable thing that you can do to kickstart living a stress-free life or getting out of a certain mindset. So if it's just traveling to the town next to you, or, going out and experiencing a new hike, something new and different, it breaks up your routine and this little trap that can happen in your head. And you'll start, I think it really kickstarts the whole thriving thing.
So awesome. We all need to go book a little trip and just get out of our routine and get that little extra
so helpful. Yeah. That's what I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Georgia, what is one thing that you live by?
Okay. What do I live by? So when I heard this question originally. I thought my mind went immediately to yoga, but I don't know if that really answers the question. But for me, like yoga is the thing that gets me thinking about being in the present and trusting the universe. So that's something, it's like my mini little routine that helps me live by the idea of just trusting the universe. Um, I also, going back to travel, I just think it's so important for people to travel and see new things, because it just helps you to continue to grow and meet new cool people and just have a fulfilled life. So, I kind of live by that mantra as well, just travel, travel, travel.
So good.
Yeah.
So just to wrap this up, where can we connect and learn more about you?
So I have a company called Munsun. It's MUNSUN. And we have a website, Munsun Retreats, and you can find us on Instagram at Munsun Retreats as well. So there we kind of post all of our upcoming retreats and fun things that we're doing. And we also always promote kind of self-help and life coaching. So you can get all that info there.
So great. So
Yeah.
great. So thank you. Thank you so much, Georgia, for this conversation about this very important topic.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.